that's what happens. That's real life. But what, in terms of the kingdom of heaven, what does that mean? And so Jesus had to explain to his disciples what the kingdom of heaven was like, or how these words pertain or apply to the kingdom of heaven. His disciples came and said unto him, "Why do you speak to these people in parables?" And he answered them, "To you is given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them that have not been given, but to them that has not been given." You see, God has different purposes for people. Not everyone is destined to be saved. There's some that God has permitted to be lost. And this example here, this parable, illustrates that. When God sows seed in the field, does He not? Does not God sow the seed? And He gives us to be the instruments where we are to go forth and preach the gospel. But it's His seed. It's His word. He gives it to us. And He tells us to go into all the world and preach the gospel. But He knows that some of that seed that we sow is not going to have any result. It's going to be completely useless. But I thought God was all-powerful. Is not God able to do everything? Why then does He send forth seed that He knows that some of it is going to fall by the wayside? Some of it will not bring forth any plant at all. Why does He waste His seed? Because He has a use for that seed that falls by the wayside, just like He has a use for the one that falls in a good and honest heart. There's a purpose for both of them. And be thankful to God that the seed that He's sown in your heart has brought forth results. But take heed lest you be like the seed that fell among the thorns or the seed that fell among the rocks. Because it's not guaranteed from the beginning that you will receive the reward. You must be faithful unto death. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And that means not only be faithful as long as you live, yes, that's required, but it means be faithful even if it kills you. That's required. And that may be harder to do, to say, no, I'm not going to serve Allah. I'm not going to become a Muslim and have your head cut off. Or say, no, I will not serve Allah. And they nail you to a cross. Or they burn you alive. Or they shoot you in the back of the head. That's the kind of dedication that God expects from us. And He says, if you're not willing to do that, you are not worthy of me. We serve a very demanding God. Christianity is not easy. Christianity is not free. Christianity costs you everything you have. And God gives grace, yes. He makes up that which we lack, yes. And He offers it to anybody. Whatever they have is sufficient price. But He requires it all. He requires you to give up whatever is above Him and serve Him first. And if you're not willing to do that, you're wasting your time. He will not take second place. We must be willing to put God first. And that's easy to say and hard to do. Because our flesh wars against our spirit. And it tugs and pulls and causes us to go astray. But God is willing to forgive if we're willing to repent. The problem is people, they get off into these things and they don't want to come back. They're not willing to give up because they like it. They don't want to come back. And that's the problem here that Jesus speaks about when He says that there's those that fall among the thorns and those that fall among the rocks. And He said to the disciples, to you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. Do you know that the kinds of things that we read about in the New Testament, the kinds of things that we know as Christians, for 4,000 years were kept hidden. Nobody knew what these were. That God had kept them secret. As the Apostle said, from the foundation of the world, they were hidden. It was necessary that Christ, the exact nature of Christ, be kept a secret. Because if the devil had known that God sent Jesus into the world to die, and that by dying, He would pay the price for sin, and He would overcome sin and death, the devil wouldn't have killed Him.